Okay, y'all, it finally happened. During my long period of convalescence from my recent shoulder surgery, I forgot to plug a battery tender into my Vespa. So when I came out here this morning to get on my gothic nerd cycle and fly it to work, it wouldn't start. The starter just went click, click, click. So we're going to pull it into the shop now and change the battery on it. Hang around and I'll show you how to change the battery on your 23 Vespa GTS300. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you deciding to come back and watch this. Not much. There's a few little differences. This is a Vespa and it's not a Honda. If you're like me and you grew up, I've had a bunch of Honda scooters, had a Ruckus, Metropolitan. Well, I haven't had a Metropolitan yet, but I probably will, especially my Helix. They all had the fuel tank in the floorboard and the battery up under the seat. The Vespa is the exact opposite of that. It has the battery in the floorboard and the fuel tank up under the seat. And so to get to it, fairly simple. I have this custom rack on mine, so the procedure and the fasteners may be a little different. So I got a screwdriver stuffed down in this hole, and I'm pulling the screws out. We're going to pull this battery out, and I'm going to go buy one. And while I'm out, I'll take my wife to lunch and all that good stuff. And we'll come back, and I'll change back into my grease rags here and reinstall it. And then we'll even attempt to set the clock on this thing. Get that screw on out of there. Yeah, still. Pull the other screws loose. I may have to pull up on the rack some in order to get it to come out. That's all right. Get this one out. There we go. The rack comes out. In my case, it's stuck to the floorboard. I'm not going to unstick it. Normally, you would just be taking this plastic floorboard off right here. But I'm just going to leave the two stuck together for the time being. I'll set it up here out the way. Now here's where it gets interesting. It has a Torx wrench for the hold down, battery hold down. It's kind of a crazy setup in here. If you take a look at this view from my little second camera here, see we have a Torx fitting right here. If I can find one, I'll probably replace this with a lithium battery just because they do better in storage for a long period of time. Now, this deal has nothing to do with the quality of the battery or the quality of the scooter. The only thing it does have to do with the scooter has a clock on it and a computer that stays running and stores data and stays running 24/7, 365. And since my lane behind didn't get out here and put the battery charger on it every once in a while, it just didn't last 4 months. that's pretty much a situation you'll run into with any modern vehicle or any modern car. And the sad part is, I have battery tender leads on it. All I had to do was plug it in. Matter of fact, when I discovered it was dead, I did plug them in and let it charge overnight. But it turns out that that just wasn't enough. Okay, I've got that loose, but my problem I got here, I have my battery tender wires running across it. So I need to go ahead and take those loose. Like I said, I was actually able to jump start it, and I took it out. I charged it for a few hours and took it out to the garage. And unfortunately, that wasn't enough to keep it running. I had to replace the battery. I will set these wires back out the way. One thing I will mention is to always pull the negative cable off first. Now to see this the battery hold down comes right out. That's cool. And it is a pain to get it out though. Well, anyhow, this is the original specified battery. And if I don't find a good equivalent or superior lithium battery, I will probably put another one of these back in it. So anyhow, let's go shopping and take my wife out to lunch and all that good stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll finish this job up. Okay, well, that short trip to the car store and then lunch break with Mama turned into a quick trip to the motorcycle shop to pick up a battery, which I needed. I usually buy my batteries from motorcycle retailers. Occasionally Batteries Plus. I've never had good luck with the kind of brands of batteries sold at like Walmart or your favorite local auto parts store. In fact, I almost insisted on getting a Yuasa, but I had heard of the Motorsport brand before. They seem to have decent quality. As long as it wasn't some cheap off brand. So we're going to put this on. Being how lunch break turned into lunch break, a visit with the kids, and then supper, and a little relaxing, a nice long three-wheeler ride. So here it is late in the afternoon. I brought this battery home. This battery came fully set up, already sealed, but I did put it on my trickle charger for about 4 hours to top the battery completely off. So now we're going to set it down in the hole here. Keep knocking over the camera. I've got my footage kind of messed up on that last one. Video shoot a little bit. I'm kind of realizing that GoPros are not mission critical equipment. That if you're not where you can see them or watch them at all times, they can shut off on you unexpectedly. Such is life. So what I've done, I've got the GoPro down here where I can keep an eye on it. We'll drop the battery back in here. I'm going to put the battery clamp, the hold down, back in place. Both sides of it started. Of course, it's interesting to note on the Vespa GTS here, there's a main fuse located right here. So that's nice to know where that is. And we're going to go ahead and finish putting this all back in. Tighten it down. Turn it all back on. I haven't had to do any work on this Vespa, you know, other than oil change and customizing, a little bit of mild custom stuff. It's been utterly reliable. The only reason this battery is dead is my own fault, like I mentioned earlier in the video, but that's okay. We are making it right now. Of course, I'm putting the positive terminal back on first. Okay, this fuse here is used for the battery tender. And it's really smart of me to put a battery tender lead on it and not use battery tender. But I really didn't expect to be down as long as I was. Now we have the negative terminal. It sits into place like so. Put the screw through it and tighten that down. And there we have everything back on it. We'll put we'll get 4 screws. These are 2 screws that were left over from the original battery. I'll put them away. Anyhow, if you don't have this rack that I have, you would just put this cover back on right here. I also have a rack on mine, which is, so it sits over like this. A little bit fiddly, but this rack came from Classic Rack Store in the UK. Very nice product. It just makes reinstalling my board a little more fiddly, that's all. One nice thing they did, they cut holes in the top of the rack plate. Give you access to the head of the screws with a screwdriver. Once I get all 4 screws started in good, I'll go ahead and tighten them all down. Anytime I'm dealing with something like this, I never tighten all the screws. Never tighten any of the screws until I get all the screws started. It just makes life easier that way. Okay, and there we go. That's how we get the battery back in. Replacement battery on your Vespa GTS300. Now, let's get this thing started up and reset the clock, which is as aggravating as anything else you can do on a Vespa GTS. Okay, we've got the cameras repositioned where you can see, if you've never operated the Vespa GTS like this, this is a 2023. There's a bit of a procedure, even though it's a keyless start, this is a keyless fob. The fob is keyless, the bike still has a key to it. But what you will have to do is you will see the small Wi-Fi signal on the dash. You put the key fob up to that, push that button in. The lights will flash, and you'll see a little screen that says welcome. And then it says you can turn the ignition knob, which is down here. So you turn that on, and the dash comes up, circles through its little routine that it does. Now to actually start the motorcycle, the scooter, you will put one hand on either of the brakes and the other hand on the starter button here, and it fires right up. Works great. I'm going to shut it back off for this part, and we'll go back through because I don't need the engine running to set the clock, so we'll go back through, turn the engine back on. Now, over here on this handlebar is the joystick that operates the menu. You can use this to cycle through everything. To get it to where you can set the clock, you want to move it to the left. And now it says settings menu. Push it straight in. Oops, nope, I messed up on that one. Settings menu. then you want to go straight down. It takes some time to do it. If you don't hit it just right, because it's like between the long pause and the short pause, it's really annoying. I watched some of the Vespa guys doing the settings, and they have no problem going straight to the settings menu. But then I, on the other hand, there it goes. I held it down a little bit longer. All right, it says setting language. We want to go one more time. It says set time clock. So you want to come to this joystick. You want to mash it straight in. Do not get it to either side. Now the clock is up here. Now it's after 7 o'clock in the evening here. So we move the joystick up. Whoops, see, it just messed up. I did something wrong. Okay, there it goes. It is, yep. This is a 24-hour clock. So it is 1900 hours, and let's see how many minutes. So it is actually, right now, it is 1933. Of course, if you don't move very fast, then you push the joystick straight in. Now for minutes, you hold the joystick up to make it go up. A couple of online videos have, now you want to mash this straight in again. We want to skip everything and get back out of all this. Okay, to get back out of everything, you pull the joystick to the left. I'm having to remember this stuff as I go along. And of course, now that we're out of the settings menu, we can run through. That's how many miles we can expect on our tank of fuel. It has all kind of different neat settings on here. I just figured I'd show y'all this. I finally got the entire dash menu and all set up the way I prefer it. I've got the clock at the front, which shows 1938, which is 7:38 Eastern Standard Time. This bike has 4,209 miles on it, which isn't too shabby when you consider it has at least 3 other bikes that it shares commuter duty with, and I haven't ridden anything in 4 months. And I've got it where instead of the average mileage, this is the miles left in the tank of gas, which is the way I prefer to have it, even though it has this fuel gauge over here. So anyhow, like I said, setting the menu is a bit fiddly. And you can accidentally bump this joystick here when you're reaching for the turn signals and mess it up. I hear on the latest models that they've gone away from this joystick. So that would be a great thing. I would love to find a way to retrofit this one with the newer controls to get rid of it on this one. But it's not worth trading in to get a different one, because this thing is just sublime. It is personalized to suit my personality, and I really like it. Basically, as I said at the beginning of this video, it's my gothic nerd cycle. It works perfect for a guy who goes to work to draw pictures and do math. Anyhow, y'all keep riding, keep wrenching, and stay crazy.